This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Police have closed their investigation into that double homicide involving a 35-year-old mother and her 14-year-old daughter last week Wednesday.
Today, Foreign Carey was in court where the alleged boyfriend of the mother was hauled before a magistrate and formally charged with the crime.
32-year-old Woods Alley resident and accused murderer Jason Ferguson, a.k.a. DJ Stutter, arrived at the South Street Magistrate Court on crutches and under heavy police guard. As he moved closer to the courthouse, relatives and friends of the two females he is accused of killing, who were standing on South Street patiently awaiting his arrival, swarmed the entrance, taking pictures of him and hurling insults.
Hey, it's a joke. I'm telling you that it's a joke. Climb up on an old tree and let some animals get it.
In court, Ferguson appeared calm as he was formally charged with killing his alleged girlfriend, 35-year-old Vera Barry, and her 14-year-old daughter, Indiana Forbes, back on Wednesday, November 6. Police say they were killed when two armed men forced their way into their Woods Alley apartment during the early morning hours and fatally shot them as they slept. Two other children were also said to be in the apartment at the time, but were left unharmed. Ferguson was also shot in the leg after an alleged struggle with gunmen during the incident and hospitalized. However, police later arrested him in connection with the crime. Meantime, the case is expected to be fast-tracked to the Supreme Court by voluntary bill of indictment, which means a preliminary hearing will not take place. Following the arraignment, one of Ferguson's two attorneys informed the court that he is on medication for his gunshot wound, and he asked the court to ensure that Ferguson gets his medication in prison. The court promised to inform the superintendent of prisons about his request and ordered that Ferguson see a doctor for follow-up.
Now, as is usually the case in these matters, bail was denied and Ferguson was remanded to prison. He returns to court in February of next year. Foreign Carey, ZNS Network News.
The National Congress of Trade Unions Bahamas NCTUB is expressing some disappointment with government for not bringing the proposed value-added tax initiative to the labor movement for its input. NCTUB President Jennifer Isaacs-Dotson says outside of negotiating better terms and working conditions for its members, the union is able to help government create policies that are beneficial for all.
It's interesting that I heard the Prime Minister ask the business sector for suggestions about the VAT. He's not asked Labour, and we will be the ones who will be most affected by VAT. So I think he also needs to ask Labour, what kind of taxation do we foresee coming in place and how it will work, and we can offer him that. But again, they only look to the business sector. We have bright minds also in the Labour movement who can also offer good alternatives to the government.
And outside of that, Mrs. Isaacs-Dotson says she believes the labor movement has the answer to what is happening economically and should be included in the decision-making of the country.
The labor movement has been instrumental in our country in developing it going forward. And I think that this time is no different. I think this is even a more critical time that we need to be involved in the decision-making of this country and to be able to be a part of decisions moving forward, so that we can't say that we were left out looking in. This is an even more time using the Barbados model again. When Barbados dollar was about to be devalued, they had to come together as a country involving the unions, and that is how they came about with their social partnership. I would like to see the same thing happen here, that all of us come together to figure out a strategy to help us get out of the recession that we're in. How are we going to deal with unemployment? How are we going to deal with the many issues? We have the answers as well.
The Bahamas Crisis Center, Zonta Bahamas, the Women's Bureau of the Ministry of Social Services and Community Development, and the Urban Renewal Commission are partnering to create greater awareness of domestic violence against women as the center celebrates 31 years. With the level of violence against women still high, Director of the Crisis Center, Dr. Sandra Dean Patterson, says it's sad when children are directly impacted, adding that it's important that children who witness domestic violence get access to help. She says the center also wants to reduce the levels of sexual assaults which take place in the country. Minister of Social Services and Community Development, Melanie Griffin, says violence can only be reduced through a community effort.
I want to ask you all to imagine a 7-year-old boy driving in the car with his mom, twin sister, and 3 younger siblings, and having the mother's car pulled off the side of the road by a very angry father who gets out of the car with his cutlass. Luckily, his mother has the window up and has the car locked, and so he's not able to get to them.
Peace and love in our nation can only be achieved when we all come together to make our families, our schools, and our communities spaces and places where we nurture, protect, and care for each other.
Now, the organization will launch Code Orange, 16 days of activities in Roslyn Square on November 25th, targeting young people in high school and college. President of Zonta Club, New Providence, Marissa Smith, says they're hoping to see results from the campaign, adding that education is key. To further promote its message, Zonta Bahamas will host a What's Love Got to Do With It workshop on November 30th.
We believe that too many women are dying as a result of domestic violence. And we are here as a club to join hands and to partner with the ministry to say, we are here to make a difference in our society. We want to educate our women. We want to heighten their awareness that they do not have to accept what is coming down to them.
A juvenile forum has been planned for tomorrow, focused on challenges facing the youth in today's society. The Ministry of Social Services and Community Development sponsored event is part of Rehabilitative Week. Panelists will include Magistrate Constance Delancey, Chief Clinical Psychologist Carolyn Roberts, Superintendent Stephen Dean of the Police Force, and Reverend Angela Palacios of the Anglican Diocese.
Well, still to come tonight, a small fish with a big role on Exuma Island. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Charisma Robinson. The Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, and Jamaica are still leading the Caribbean in improving the region's business climate, according to a new World Bank report released today. The Washington-based financial institution said the three Caribbean community countries took steps to improve their business regulatory environment over the past year. It said the Bahamas reduced the cost of transferring property and improved its insolvency process, while Trinidad and Tobago is featured in a case study highlighting its efforts to lower the costs of connecting to the power supply. Minister of Social Services and Community Development Melanie Griffin encouraged a group of local and international corporate businesswomen to take on the mantle of the leaders of the women's suffrage movement and help to empower the less fortunate amongst them. Minister Griffin was addressing the opening session of the International Business Money Women's Success Conference 2013. The conference was designed to provide corporate businesswomen with the knowledge and skills they need to excel in their careers. And in international business, American Airlines and U.S. Airways have settled an antitrust suit with U.S. regulators, paving the way for their proposed merger to be finalized. The merger would create the world's largest airline as part of the agreement, which must still be approved by a judge. The airlines will give up slots at several U.S. airports. That's your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Charisma Robinson.